Pear Deck is an add-on for Google Slides that allows teachers to use active participation strategies in order to turn lectures into engaging response sessions. Today's tutorial will explore the basics of Pear Deck and look at how to create an actual Pear Deck presentation, as well as introduce you to what the student views look like, as well as the teacher views. To get started, let's take a look at how to create your initial Pear Deck. So I have on my screen currently a sample Pear Deck that I am going to be using with you. However, if you are going to create your Pear Deck, you would simply just open up a blank Google Slides presentation. You would want to go to your add-ons options, and you would select Get Add-ons. And so Pear Deck would pop up because it is a popular tool for teachers to use right now. You would simply just select this and add it. And then once you have done that, you would go back to your add-ons and you would select Pear Deck for Google Slides add-on and open Pear Deck add-on. Once you do this, you are going to have a toolbar that opens up here on the right-hand side with your Pear Deck tools. I, however, am going to go back to my Pear Deck introduction that I have made, and I am going to walk you through how to create a Pear Deck of your own. So I am going to go to Add-ons, Pear Deck, open Pear Deck add-on, and let's explore the tools that are available to you. So first off, within your Pear Deck toolbar, you have templates that are already pre-made for you. These templates are 100% customizable. You can edit them to your own liking. And so let's take a look at them. So when I click on Template Library, you can see that there are various templates for stages of lessons. So you have the beginning of the lesson, such as bell ringers or things that students need to do when they walk in the room. Examples of these would be, we have instructions down here. The kids can think about a homework question that they have. They can be asked to draw or type things that they know about today's topic. There are just really a lot of options that you can choose from. And again, these are all purely customizable. For example, I have taken this first option right here and I have included it in my own Pear Deck. And so I have find your seat, take out your device, and then think about what was the takeaway from the homework. So that would be what my students would need to do as they enter my room. If we go back here, you can see that there are also templates for during a lesson. These would be assessments, activities, and things to do for students to transition as well. If we take a look at some of these options, we have summarizing. You can have the students select true and false options. As we go back again, you can see that there are end of lesson templates for you, such as exit tickets for students to complete. We'll just take a brief overview of these. And then there are also templates that will help with learning development. So we have critical thinking skills, social emotional learning, and there are also templates that are specific to subject areas, which is great too. So that if you are wanting to find something that is specific to your lesson, you can search these and potentially find a great match. So that is what the templates look like. Heading back over to our toolbar, we have our interactions that we can use with our students to make our slide presentations interactive and engaging. And so we have various options such as text response, we have multiple choice questions, students can enter numbers to answer, and you can also push out websites for students to visit within the lesson itself. The draw options and the drag options, they are part of the premium version. When you create an initial account, you have a 30-day free trial that allows you to utilize these two tools. That is why I am able to utilize them now, because I am on my 30-day free trial as well. However, once that is over, you would need to upgrade to the premium version in order to be able to use those tools. So taking a look at some of the questions, if we are going to have students add a text, I would simply select add a text. And then if I would go update slide, my slide is going to be updated and students are going to be able to write a response. So for example, right here, it says, what was your main takeaway from the homework? When we take a look at the student side of this, the students are going to be able to type an answer. We have multiple choice options. And so if I select multiple choice, I would put in my options for the students, and then students would be able to select options from there. The number option allows students to rate things on a scale. You can see that they would be dragging their number, and we'll take a look at that as well. And then with the website options, you are able to push websites out to students. So for example, I would put my website right here. I get a preview of that article, and when I update the slide, the link is going to actually insert into the slide so students can view it within the interactive lesson. And again, we will take a look at that when I show you the student side of things. Another neat feature of Pear Deck is that you can also add audio to your slides. So if you have students that need that further assistance with the audio, maybe you're working with younger students and they are working on building their reading skills, you can provide that audio to them to help them throughout the lesson. If you would just like to add audio to your slide, again, if you're trying to create interactive engagement or just to enhance your lesson, you can certainly do that as well. So that is the basic overview of Pear Deck and how to create a general presentation. One thing that I would like to note within this presentation is that, as you can see, my slides are all currently the templates that were created because I wanted to show you and give you a feel for what they look like. However, when you create your own presentation, you do not have to have back-to-back interactive slides like I do. You can layer these interactive slides into your lecture presentations so that you can break up the pace and the tone of the lecture and give students a break from just listening to you speak. So keep that in mind. That's just a little tip for you as well. You do not have to have back-to-back interactive slides. You can layer them in, and that would also hopefully be the goal as well, that you would layer those items in. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the student view here. So when you're ready to present your lesson, you would go over here and you would press Start Lesson. Now, when you start your lesson, you have two different options. You have student-paced activities and you have instructor-paced activities. For this tutorial, we are going to take a look at the instructor-paced activity. This means that I, as the teacher, would be working through the presentation with students in real time. I will provide another tutorial at a later date, taking a look specifically at the student-paced activity, because this would be a good option if we were to move to a remote situation, or if you would potentially want to flip your classroom and have the students complete the lesson at home and do the discussion and activity portion of the class with your students. So let's take a look at the instructor-paced activity. So I am going to go ahead and select that for my presentation option. When my presentation loads, a code is going to pop up, and this is what needs to be given to students. So as a teacher, I would tell my students that they need to go to joinpd.com and enter the code that is available to them on the board. And so I am going to do that right now so that you can see what the student view looks like. So let's go to joinpd.com. I am going to split my screen here. Whoops. There we go. And so now I'm entered here as a student. This right here, how are you feeling today? That is just a generic question that all Pear Deck presentations ask. Students can complete it if they choose, or they can just have the option to skip it. I'll go ahead and answer it. And so the presentation's loading. And now I can see the first slide for the presentation. And so as a teacher over here, once I know that all of my students are logged in and they are ready to go, I am going to go ahead and press Start Class. And so as you can see, the slides so far are matching up. So as a teacher, you can see right down here where the green is that you are live and you are presenting to students. So as we thumb through the Google Slides presentation, you'll be able to see what your teacher view is mirroring with the student view that is over here on the right. So as we progress through, we'll see that we have the bell ringer activity that students need to complete. And so right here it says in Pear Deck answer, what was your main takeaway from the homework? On the student side down here, I need to answer the question. And so your students would select answer the question, and they have the option to type in an answer. So I am going to type in John Smith was an interesting character. That's my takeaway. Now, as students start to enter their takeaways, you are going to be able to see on your live teacher view the number of responses that are coming in. So as the teacher, you can see one responses have been turned in, and that's the response that is from me. And so in the student view as well, once I am done answering the question, I can also press show question if I would like to go back to that. But as a student, I'm not able to move on. So once the teacher thinks that all of the student responses are in, you also have an option to be able to show the students the responses. And that is by selecting this little projector button right down here. When you select that, you can see all of the student responses. Now, this would be a good option if you would like to generate a class discussion from these responses. It would also be an option for students to be able to take notes. Let's say if you were looking at describing characteristics of an individual, or if you were looking at listing the capitals of the state. Really, it's up to the teacher whether or not to show those answers. It would just depend on the situation. In order to go back to presentation mode, you would just select the projector button again, and it will bring you back to the slides. So as we again continue to progress through this, we have how is the homework assignment. This is a drag and drop option. And so the students would take their little bubble and they would drag it along the line to show how they were feeling about the homework assignment. And so I'm going to drop mine in the middle here. And in the teacher view, I can see that I have my responses in, and I want to show the students what everyone's thinking or feeling in the room. So I'll press my projector button, and you can then see where the dots fall along the line. This slide has a question that is related to the news article that I have posted for students. So when students select answer question, they are going to be pushed to the actual article before they are able to answer the question. So that's the unique feature with adding the website. Now, with adding the website, it wouldn't just have to be an article. It could obviously be any website that you would like students to explore. As we go through here, again, we have drag and drop how you are feeling. So students can say that they are good, they know what you're doing. This would be a good, quick formative assessment check if you were trying to gauge students' understanding during the lesson. If you wanted to pause the lesson, if you felt that students were maybe becoming disengaged, as a teacher in presentation mode, you also have the option to lock the progress. And this also pops up on the student's screen as well, so that the students kind of jump up and they become a little more alert, saying, oh, geez, why did the teacher stop the lesson? So that is just a way to also to reset the pace of the class if you need to. Continuing through the lesson, you can see the different options that the students have. This option is the draw option. That is part of the premium version. If we have what do you like, you could say apples. Was it easy? Yes. And I am actually just drawing on my screen. So students have the ability to actually draw. They could draw a circle, they can draw squares, a person, whatever it may be. And again, this is just part of the premium feature. And as the teacher, if I wanted to project what my students were drawing, I could show that, and you can actually see what the students were drawing on the screen. So that's the student view versus the teacher view within presentation mode. Once you are done with your presentation, you would go to end right here. And the nice thing about Pear Deck is that if you would like to check the students' responses or provide a grade for these responses, you can name the session. I'm going to name it test session 1. And if you save and end that session, you can then go back and look at the student responses so that you can individually grade them. In order to grade student responses, you would need to go to the actual Pear Deck site. So let's take a look at that. And I will show you how to export student responses. So you'll need to log in. And so in here, this is kind of like your teacher dashboard. In another tutorial, I will explore more of these options with you as well. For now, though, we're just going to take a look at sessions up here. If you select sessions, you'll see the various sessions that you have created and presented to students. We need to focus on test session 1. So if I wanted to export my student responses, I would simply go to these 3 dots over here. I would select export to spreadsheet, and my student responses will be exported to a spreadsheet so that I can review them as needed, and I can provide feedback or provide grades or any kind of response that I need to for my students. So that is Pear Deck in a nutshell. Again, the purpose of this tutorial was to show you the basic creation of a Pear Deck presentation, as well as what the student view looks like and the teacher view. I will be providing another Pear Deck session, essentially a step 2 with Pear Deck that will explore a few more things within this actual program. But if you have any questions in the meantime, feel free to let me know. And I hope that you're able to use this add-on in order to create those engaging active response sessions for your students.